right, for this next part of the review, we're going to go through sections 3 and 4 of your practice test. Start with chemical reactions, and then we're going to get straight in there. So why do we eat? Well, 2 reasons, for matter and for energy, right? We got to add matter to our bodies as cells die, and we also have to build proteins for different processes, all kinds of things, and we also need energy to think, to move, to breathe, to do a variety of things. All right, what type of energy do molecules have? Potential energy. What is the law about matter? That's the law of conservation, right? Matter cannot be created or destroyed. It is transformed. Make sure you do have that element on there. Matter is transformed. It does not get created or destroyed. And the same is true about energy. It is conserved, so it doesn't get destroyed. It simply gets transformed. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It gets transformed. Explain this diagram about energy. What does it mean? Well, here you have on your y-axis molecular energy increasing, your x, you've got time. Here you have your reactants. They have a greater amount of potential energy than your products. And when the reaction occurs, energy gets released. Those bonds are broken, energy gets released, and you have new products formed. So here you had your reactants, the matter gets moved around, and you have new products formed and a release of energy. Fill in the blank. I apologize. This is a wrong question. You can just drop it off the final. In a chemical reaction, if the products have greater potential energy than the reactants, then energy is added. So it really shouldn't be surroundings. Added to get it to the reaction. So my bad. If the products have greater potential energy, then the reactant's energy has to get added. Anyway, drop it off the test. What are the 3 components or biomolecules that make up food? Think about if you look at a package and you're looking at the main things that are in your food. Remember when you did the Calorie King? You've got what? Starts with a C, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Or you could say carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids, right? Fats, lipids, kind of the same thing. All right, number 8, name 4 groups of organic compounds found in living things. So remember that Amoeba Sisters video? So again, the same stuff that we eat makes us up, generally. So we're made of carbs, carbohydrates, we're made of proteins, we are made of fat and fats or lipids. And the last one comes from our genetics unit here, nucleic acids. That's the stuff that DNA was made of when you were looking at it. Describe at least one function of each group of organic compounds. What's the function of a carbohydrate? Well, there's very little of it in your body because it quickly gets transformed. It is for short-term energy. It's a quick release of energy. What's a function for fats? To store energy so that when those carbs run out, you can turn to your fat stores. What about proteins? Do a variety of things from regulating hormones, like, for example, regulating the hormones that would cause your heart to beat faster when you're exercising, to muscle growth. Those will work. And then a function of your nucleic acids to be able to carry out the instructions for protein building and different things inside the cell. The code being written on through your DNA and RNA. Okay. What type of biomolecule is the fuel our brain uses for energy to think? That would be glucose. Long chains of amino acids are called proteins. What are the top 3 substances in our daily food? We already did this one, right? So carbs, proteins, fats. What are the elements in the following organic molecules? Remember, you've got Joe, John, okay? So carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus is that P. Use the data collected below from the burning foods to heat the water. You're going to be finding the calories and the kilocalories in the foods, and then all of these hints are going to be on the test too. So let's see if we can work this out. We've got our sample one, a marshmallow. We need to, this is our formula. So Q equals this. So I'm going to take this formula, copy it. That's our formula, right? And so let's see, Q is what we're trying to solve for. So we've got our M here for the mass. The mass is going to be your water. So our mass here is 50 milliliters. So we heated the water. And remember, a milliliter of water is equal to 1 gram of water. So we're going to put in G for grams. We're going to do that times 50 grams times. Now we've got to plug in the C, which is the change, which is the specific heat. And that's just a formula we're plugging in. So it's this. So we're going to copy that. We're going to plug that into our formula. So it's 1 calorie over a gram per degree Celsius times what's our next one? The delta T. So it's the change in temperature. And here it says we started at 15 degrees Celsius, and it changed to 28. It went up to 28 degrees. So that's a 13 degree change. So times 13 degrees Celsius. Okay. Let me just copy that. And then you're going to cancel all of your units, and that's going to be our answer for Q, which is our heat. So that's where basically everything cancels out, and you're going to end up multiplying 50 times 13, which if I just, it's really 13 times 5, 3 times 5 is 15, so 650, I believe. So 650, and let's go and put that in there. Get a nice blue color, big and bold. 650. Okay, so this is going to be my answer for here. Oh, sorry. This is going to be my answer for here. Plug it back in. 150 calories. And then this is our change in temperature, 13, right? So that was here. Put it over here. Okay. But that can't be right, because here we have 650 calories, and it's only 1 marshmallow. My word, that's a lot of calories. Well, that's where it gets a little trickier, right? So 1 calorie with a capital C is what you see in your foods or in packaging and label them, is equal to a kilocalorie. And that is also equal to 1,000 of these lower calories, these lesser calories, the lowercase c. So if that is the case, 650 of these lowercase calories, how would you convert that? And so then you would just take 650 and you would divide it by 1,000. And so that's going to be what? 0.665 kilocalories. Which also probably isn't right, because we've got errors, because marshmallows definitely are more than 0.65 kilocalories. Okay. I'm going to let you work out the next one. You should be able to apply that, what we just did there, to here. Again, you're looking at your number here for your mass, and see if you can do it as well. All right. What could explain why the calories measured in our burning food experiment were lower? Well, we had we didn't have a perfect experiment going on, right? We had heat loss, which should have gone straight up to just the water because we wanted to heat this water because it's that really the key thing is to measure the temperature change in your water to determine how much energy is being lost by the food. But the heat didn't only go to the water, it also went into the outside air. And so that's going to be losing some of our data. In addition, maybe your Cheeto was far away from the can or it fell off the paper clip. All kinds of factors were involved in not having the accurate calorie count. In the lab where this is done, it is much more controlled. What was the final molecular equation for burning ethanol? And so for that one, we've got C2. Let's see, let's put it in. C2H6. Oh, O plus O2 comes CO2 and H2O. Let me just get my okay, now we're all good. And I'll highlight this. Make it blue, make it big, bold, beautiful. All right. Here's our final molecular equation for burning ethanol. What elements are in the reactants? Well, we've got CHO, CHO, right? This is our reactant side, the things that react. How many atoms of each element are there in the products? You've got 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens, and 1, 2, 3 oxygens. How does this equation for burning ethanol reinforce our rules for matter? Well, it shows that matter cannot be created or destroyed, it just change forms. What you have over here, you also have over there. And then just so you know, I realize this isn't balanced. I'm not going to be concerned about whether you're able to balance it or not. I will show you what it looks like. So if this is our equation and we want to balance it, it's going to be 2 there, 6 there, 4 there, and 6 there. So this means that over on this side, I'm going to have the same number of carbons and oxygens. Let's see, I wrote it in. And I'm going to have 4 carbons over here. That means I have 4 over here. I have 12 hydrogens here, and I've got 12 over here. I've got 14 oxygens here, 2 here, plus 12, and 8 here, plus 6, 14. So this is balanced, right? So not only do we have the same elements, we have the same number of elements. Matter cannot be created or destroyed, but don't worry about that piece of it for the final. Okay. Now we've got the equation for splitting water. Just kind of cool, electrolysis. So we've got H2O, our beautiful water molecule. And when it gets split, you divide off the hydrogens and the oxygens, and you still have your hydrogens and oxygens, but it's no longer water. So what molecules are in the reactant side? Here are our reactants. Well, it's water. That's our molecule. What molecules are on the product side? Well, now we've got hydrogen and oxygen, which is a product, which is a molecule as well as the product. What elements are in the reactant side? Well, elements are hydrogen and oxygen. And I know this is confusing because it kind of sounds the same, like hydrogen and hydrogen. You'll learn more on chem next year, but if you can identify that, that's all you need to do. What elements are in the product side? Hydrogen and oxygen. How does this equation for burning or splitting water reinforce our rules for matter? Again, it shows matter is not created or destroyed, it just changes form. Here we have water and its components, and now it's broken up into hydrogen and oxygen. Let's go on to cellular, section 4, cellular respiration. Here we had the biggest loser, Palu, and he went from 403 pounds to 188 pounds in just 5 months. Where did the matter go? This gives you some ideas about what it is. And let's look at the practice questions. So, which food molecule is the best readily available fuel source for your cells? Glucose is it. All of the following are true about food except what? All of these answers are correct. Which of the following are reasons why your cells do not burn glucose through combustion to get energy? Burning releases too much energy all at once, so a lot of energy would be wasted. That is true. Cells cannot use heat to do most of the work needed, so most of the heat produced, it would just be lost. That is true. If glucose was burned, how would energy get to other parts of the cell? It's just like burned. Well, that's also a true point, which means all of the above are correct. Okay? Use the following overall chemical reaction for cellular respiration to answer the questions below. In the overall chemical equation for cellular respiration, which of the following is not a product molecule? So remember, our reactants are here, and here are our products. And within cellular respiration, you've got this becomes carbon dioxide and water. And so it can't be carbon dioxide and it can't be water. And we do know that ATP comes into play. So I don't really like this question. I'm not going to have it. But glucose is not the product, is not a product of this. I would actually, yeah. The AT molecule comes over here, so I would actually dump the ATP one too. We'll drop this from the test. In the overall chemical equation for cellular respiration, which of the following is not a reactant molecule? Well, oxygen is in the reactant side, glucose is, carbon dioxide is not, so that's going to be your answer. How many hydrogen atoms are involved in this reaction? Well, if you look over here, you've got 12 hydrogen atoms. How many water molecules are produced? This whole thing is the molecule, so you've got 6 molecules of water. Now, again, looking at the chemical reaction for cellular respiration, how do the energy levels of the reactants and products compare? So remember, we have reactants store more energy, and we know that's got to be true because they have glucose, and glucose has that potential energy. Okay? So for for cellular respiration, the reactants are storing the energy, and that's what our glucose is doing. Yeah, it's storing energy. We release it during cellular respiration. Okay. How are matter transformations related to energy? There is no relationship between matter and energy. Matter converts energy. Energy is always changed. Energy is released when matter is transformed. Use the data to answer the following questions. After exercise, is more, less, or the same amount of carbon dioxide exhaled? Here we look at our chart. Here we have after exercise. And we can see that the time it took for bromothiamyl blue to change when you were blowing into it, right, is only 5 seconds after you exercised. So there's got to be more being exhaled. Yeah. And how do you know? Because of the time change. It only took 5 seconds for the bromothiamyl blue to change versus 8 seconds before you exercise. Where does the carbon dioxide in your exhaled breath come from? Well, it comes as a product of cellular respiration, right? So if we go back up here, we know that when you cellular respiration, carbon dioxide is a product. Maybe I'll highlight a different color. So your bloodstream is taking that and bringing it out of the body. So it's coming from, as a product of cellular respiration, getting transported through the blood cells, over to the lungs, and up and out of your body. After exercise, is the breathing rate higher, lower, or the same? Well, immediately after exercise, you're clearly breathing much more. This is the breathing rate per minute. Here we only have 14, which means you are like in a coma. But anyway, you only have 14, and here you have 27. Okay. Which molecule do you need more of during exercise? Well, during exercise, you definitely need more oxygen, right? So you're breathing in more oxygen and why do you need more oxygen? So that you can conduct cellular respiration in order to release energy and to continue working out and moving your body. What molecule do you need to get rid of during exercise? Carbon dioxide. After exercise, does your heart rate increase or decrease? Well, immediately after exercise, you can see that your heart rate has increased. A little bit longer you wait, and you'll know, that, of course, that your heart rate quickly goes back to normal. That's that feedback loop. So however you put your answer in here, I'm fine. Just explain your answer and what you mean. How does changing your heart rate help you get more oxygen and get rid of more carbon dioxide? As the heart beats faster, blood is pumped faster throughout your body, and your blood cells are the ones that are transporting either oxygen or carbon dioxide, right? So it's just a faster conveyor belt moving all around your body to either bring in oxygen or remove carbon dioxide. And where do you get more oxygen from? From inhaling. Where do you get rid of carbon dioxide? From exhaling. And when you exercise, where does the water in your sweat come from? Well, that comes from cellular respiration. If we look back up here again, when you're in cellular respiration, water is given off as a product. And so if you're really working out there, your water, normally you're going to pee it out or breathe it out to some degree. But if you're really super working out, you can't keep up. And so your body sweats it out. All right. That brings us up to biosynthesis.